it's Lux, and I'm backstage with Dan Donegan of Disturbed.
What's up?
I'm so excited to finally get to interview you.
I know.
I'll tell the people I kind of know Dan already from a side project, Fight or Flight, that features a St. Louis and Dan Chandler of Evans Blue. And so I got to see you, and I got to know you and Mike through that. But man, Disturbed has been a powerhouse for a long time.
Thank you, and thanks to the help from you guys.
I mean, you don't need our help.
Yeah.
You guys put out great music, and we can't stop the flow of great music. So if you put that out, we're gonna play it.
I appreciate it.
Speaking of which, it's been almost a year since Evolution came out. You guys have been just touring nonstop. Are you exhausted yet?
Yeah, it's been a busy schedule. I mean, it's great. We've been out of the country quite a bit this year too, but 2 shows left. Have it, like I was mentioning earlier. After tonight, we have Milwaukee on Sunday, and then we got a pretty long break after that. So
good. All of you guys are in the family spot in your life too. I mean, the rock star never ends, obviously, but a lot of you are in the family part of your life, and I know you've got kids that are in school and playing sports and stuff. So you're probably excited to get home and see them.
Absolutely, because I mean, my son, he's 12. His football team now going into playoff season, so I'm coming home at a great time for that, and then my daughter's about to start basketball season.
Yeah.
So it's good. I'm glad I get to come home and be part of the action with the sports and stuff. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Well, do you mind if we discuss the record for a little bit?
Sure.
I want to talk about some of the songs. Are You Ready? Obviously, the first single just came out the gate. Huge for radio. NXT theme song. Tell me about the song. Tell me how that came to be.
Oh, it's kind of funny because I had that one in the vault of riffs and ideas that I had, and I actually sometimes if we don't get around to them, I'll just kind of put them away, and if I really like them, I revisit them and try to sneak them back in and see if the guys remember. So that was actually something I wrote in 2003.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, and so when I was kind of putting together some ideas and some demos, and I'm like, I'm going to throw this back in and see if anybody remembers this one or not.
Ahead of its time,
right
clearly.
away, yeah. So I mean, it's just at the time in 2003. It's not like that we didn't like the idea then. It's just we already had the album.
Yeah, you were full.
We were full. So but I still liked it. I'm like, I'm going to sneak it back in, and right away, I think it was the first thing David gravitated towards. He's like, oh, dude, I got something for this. It's great. So I didn't kind of remind him until after he further developed the melody and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I don't know if you remember, this is one I had in 2003. I always find my way of sneaking those back in. It always had just a cool groove and a cool song, kind of the early day Disturbed with some of the electronic that we had in there. And, it was just a good way to kind of start the writing process out of just kind of tapping into a little bit of what you would expect from Disturbed.
Yeah, it brought it home a little bit.
But yeah, so I'm glad I was able to work that one back in.
Well, I'm a huge fan of A Reason to Fight, and yesterday was Mental Health Awareness Day, World Mental Health Awareness Day. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and I'm pretty loud about it on social media and on the radio. And we've got actually a commercial spot running with David's voice and talking about mental health awareness. What has that meant for you guys to be able to support that movement?
It's huge. I think in the start of the writing process, we've written over 100-something songs together. So a lot of times, not to rehash old ideas, David will say, just kind of feed him some ideas and see what we want to, touch on a bit. And that was one that struck a chord with me early on, with all of us. But I've had some close friends and family members, or that have suffered from either depression or alcohol or drug use or whatever it may be, and I mean we all have, and it was just kind of hit me pretty hard at the time because I had someone real close to me who I've seen them battle with prescription drugs. I've seen them battle with alcohol, and I could always see that I know that they're a good person. It doesn't make them a bad person. They're just fighting these demons, and I could see, how ashamed they are of themselves. Like they feel that they let us down and themselves. So, and I wanted to, try to touch on the fact to give some positivity to that message, to not give up that fight. I had a couple lyrics, ideas that I threw at David, and then he kind of tweaked them a bit to work with his melody for it. And I don't think we really fully realized the impact of the message until we started playing it live. Yeah. And when he started talking to the crowd and we see the reaction from the fans when David would ask them to raise their hands for anybody that has experienced depression or anxiety or any form of addiction, and to see almost every hand go up. Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, it's very emotional moment, and just the impact for us to see that the first time. I mean, there's many times where it kind of breaks us down in that moment too, because then it's good to know that the saying where you are not alone. It's just, I think it brings people, they find therapy in that. They see that, that they're not alone. It's not nothing to be ashamed of or embarrassed of.
And I like that you use the word shame, because that really is just a pinpoint for myself, exactly the feeling that I feel when I get real dark. I don't want to tell people that I've gotten off track, or that I'm not on the straight and narrow anymore, or that I'm like off of it, because I feel this shame. But having songs like this, and especially being a musician, you guys have such a large mouthpiece, and with music just being so emotionally touching, I just thought it was so perfect. And I'm so glad that you guys are out there pumping that message, and especially through your socials and everything. I've seen you guys connecting back and forth with the fans, which is really cool.
It's been great. Even our meet and greets, we've been getting more people coming with their own personal, just bringing in letters and their own, personal, attachment to.
Can that get heavy for you guys? Can that get kind of heavy when someone says, your song saved my life, or my brother was going to commit suicide, but he told me he was listening to your music and it saved him? I feel like that can be kind of heavy to be put on.
I never really thought, as a kid, never really thought that, that what we do was going to connect in such a way with people like that.
You're going to have them rock, they're going to jam, but
it's pretty amazing. And a lot of times when the fans give us letters at meet and greets, and sometimes we'll come in the dressing room and David will usually read them. And then lately I'm like, you know what? I don't want you to read it to me right now, because I want you to do it on stage so I get caught in the moment too. So, because a majority of the time, if it's a real touching letter and somebody's own personal battle with it, he'll pull them out of the crowd towards the end of the night before we do our song, The Light. And with their permission, he'll read the letter to the fans and share their story. And so I just thought I'd like to hear it when the fans hear it. And,
with everybody.
I don't want to have the ahead of time story. I just like getting caught up in that moment of hearing their experience with it. So, but it's a powerful thing, and it's good that these fans are opening up and sharing their stories, and they're not afraid to, now in a room full of people, to where they might have felt alone or suicidal or depressed at home by themselves. Now they're opening up and doing it in front of thousands of people on stage, and they feel like it's therapy for them.
Yes, and for rock and roll and for metal and for heavy music, a lot of men in this toxic masculinity that we've kind of grown up in used to be afraid to access that part, but seeing rock star, heavy metal, rocking men like you guys talking about stuff like that really is a game changer. Maybe you guys don't realize the impact of it yet, but in a couple of years, I think you're going to see the impact of that for sure on your audience. Really excited about the new single, No More, climbing the charts. Holy cow. When you guys put music out, do you look at charts? Which ones kind of mean something to you? Is it like the alternative rock chart? Are you looking to climb up the mainstream, or is it more the streams, how many of your fans are listening to it? Is it merch ticket sales? Where do you see that kind of success?
Personally, I don't really follow it as much. I mean, it's great. It's nice because we know our songs getting out there, and our messages are getting out there. I know David probably follows a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are up there with Shine On the Heavy, and you're knocking people down. And
that's a great accomplishment. It's the fans, and it's radio that's been behind us and supportive. So, of course, I love that. This with No More is our 7th consecutive #1 at Active Rock, which is a record. Yeah. And I know it's kind of funny because we kind of battled it out with 3 Days Grace.
Oh my God.
We're on the same management.
That's exactly what Brent from Shinedown said in that room next door in St. Patrick's Day. He was like, God, if they would just take a damn day off.
I know. Same with Shinedown too. They have enough #1 singles in that. I'm like, hey, guys, you guys go on a hiatus for 4 years like we did.
That's so freaking great.
So that's it's nice to know that that our songs still are connecting after almost 20 years of putting out albums, that we could still have #1 songs. I guess it's a good indication that we're not going away anytime soon.
No, and do you think there's anything you can think of that kind of lends to the longevity and success that a band like Disturbed has had and continues to have? What is it that you guys are doing? You're still together. You still do it? You're writing together? It sounds like you guys sit in the room together and say, okay, I got this idea.
I don't know, maybe because we all have our own issues, we need our therapy.
Yeah,
and this is it for us. I mean, it gets us through a lot. I mean, that's why we do it. We need that outlet for us to say things that we feel strong about and have that release. And there's always something to say. And I think because we're so honest, and I think within our messages, majority of our songs are so personal to us that we realize that the fans find something within the catalog that they can relate to. And that's a pretty powerful thing to think that. I mean, around the world, it just blows me away when we could go to Russia or Bulgaria, Romania, and all these other countries and see people reacting. Just in having their connection that way. It's overwhelming, and you have to stop and pinch yourself and realize how fortunate we are to be able to still do this everywhere. And
it sounds like success is less of a metric for you guys, but more of just an internal feeling of being.
Yeah, I mean, it's that balance that we try to find too with family and normal life and the chaotic life of traveling and what this could be, but. We somehow managed it.
You do it very well. I gotta say, most of the people out there only know you as Dan, the guitar player, but I know you as Dan, the dad, and you're out there with your daughter in her homecoming dress, getting her photo taken. You're coaching the football games.
Absolutely.
You guys make time for that, so it's so great.
Yeah, I mean, we should. That's why I had kids. I want to be there for every moment.
Yes.
And unfortunately, as they're getting older, it makes it a little trickier to have them out here all the time. Because when they were babies, I had them out here all the time.
Because they don't have school. Yeah, they can just see the world.
Yeah,
oh my God,
they were everywhere with
things.
me. So now it's trickier because of my daughter in high school and in her sports and her commitments there. I can't always pull it.
Yeah.
I bring them out when I can. I've taken them to Europe with me a couple of years ago because they were off school for the summer, so they came over to Europe. So it's a great trade-off.
Yeah,
and they get to. Instead of just reading history books, they
get to actually
come out
experience it.
And geography and
that's so cool.
Out. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Well, you guys are headed to Milwaukee after this, and that's a very quick drive to Chicago. I know you're a Chicago sports fan.
Yeah.
I know you're a Bears fan. But since the Cubs are no longer playing, would you throw your weight behind the St. Louis Cardinals for the NLCS
I would.
today?
Actually, I have some good friends with the Cardinals.
I think you do.
Too. So yeah, I mean.
Look, if the Cubs are still in it, I know you'd be throwing behind them, right?
Yeah. I was never really a big Cubs fan.
No?
I'm more of a White Sox guy, but I don't hate the Cubs, and I know it's tough saying that in this town. But ironically, my dad is a diehard Cubs fan. And I'm surprised that I never became a Cubs fan because he would take me.
How did you raise a White Sox fan?
I don't know. I think it's because a lot of my North Side Chicago friends that are so anti-White Sox fans and the rival that they have within our own town that I just say it to piss them off.
Yeah. Be honest, the White Sox jersey's just cooler. You just wanted to look cooler in school.
But I mean, getting back to a couple of my friends here, I mean, I'm friends with Tony La Russa, who obviously is a legend, but surprisingly, back when you guys had the World Series with them, his wife, I didn't meet her at the time, but we had a mutual friend, and the trainer for the Cardinals called me up the day of the parade here. He goes, we were talking music. I have somebody that wants to talk to you that's a big fan. And it was Tony La Russa's wife.
God, what?
And I thought he was joking. I'm like, really? Tony's wife? I'm like, really? She's big. And her favorite band's Iron Maiden. And,
God, what?
I swear to God.
I would have never put those two together. I mean.
And so I talked to her on the phone, and she was excited, and we were talking. I'm like, okay, maybe it's not a joke. This
is
legit.
Real.
So
she pulls up like B-Track. She's like, this is my favorite.
She was naming the catalog. And
got bootleg videos of you guys.
So since then, and this was quite a few years back, and then they've come out to a few shows. Tony's come out to a few. When he was in spring training in Jupiter, Florida, he came out.
Yeah.
He came out to San Francisco because he's near the Bay Area, I guess. But yeah, they're great. We became really good friends with the family, and I
know Freezer's a fan. He likes you. He likes Fight or Flight.
Yeah, David Freeze. And I'm actually when Scott Spiezio used to play with the Cardinals. He's from maybe an hour from where I live. And he's a musician himself.
Really, he was a huge baseball fan when I was young. Like he was one of on the names of the jerseys. So.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I've run into him a few times, mostly when Seven Dust rolls through town.
Yes,
because, I know, and you got Clint.
All of our Seven Dust connection.
So I had quite a few Cardinals buddies.
Well, we don't have any NFL teams, so I don't have to fight you on the Bears thing. But if we could just get you behind the Cardinals for tonight at least, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. Dan, thanks for sitting down and talking to me. I know you got some foosball to do with some of our winners. Disturbed tonight within this moment at the Chavetz Arena. Thanks, guys.